April 26th, 1986. A night meant to be routine. Inside Reactor number 4 of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, operators prepared for a safety test. A test that should have been simple, but instead unleashed the worst nuclear disaster in history.
Chernobyl lay in the Soviet Union, in modern-day Ukraine. The plant was a symbol of Soviet power, feeding electricity to millions. Just a few kilometers away, the city of Pripyat, a young city, with schools, amusement parks, families, 25,000 people living ordinary lives. They had no idea that the night shift inside Reactor 4 would change everything. The test was simple in theory. They wanted to know if the reactor could keep cooling water circulating, even after a power loss. But the reactor design had flaws, and the operators, under pressure, made mistakes. At 1:23 a.m., the control rods were withdrawn too far. Power surged, alarms rang, and then silence. The operators stared in disbelief. The reactor was unstable, but they did not yet know it was already doomed. At 1:23:45, the reactor reached a critical point. 2 explosions ripped through the night. The reactor vessel was destroyed, the roof torn apart. Graphite blocks, glowing with radiation, rained down. Flames lit the sky. But these were no ordinary flames. They carried invisible death, radiation 1,000 times stronger than Hiroshima. Firefighters rushed to the plant, young men, unaware of what they faced. They climbed onto the roof, picked up burning graphite with bare hands, thinking it was just debris. Within hours, many collapsed. Their bodies burned from the inside out. They were heroes, but they paid with their lives. At first, Soviet officials denied the scale of the disaster. In Pripyat, life went on as normal. Children went to school. Couples walked in the park, while radiation rained down. It took 36 hours before evacuation began. Buses lined the streets. Families left, told they would return in 3 days. They never did. The city of Pripyat was abandoned forever. To contain the disaster, hundreds of thousands of workers were sent. They were called the liquidators. Soldiers, miners, engineers, armed with shovels, lead vests, and courage. They built walls. They dug tunnels. They threw graphite back into the reactor by hand. Many would suffer. Many would die. But without them, Europe itself could have burned. The reactor burned for days. Finally, with sand, lead, and boron, the fire was subdued. Then came the sarcophagus, a massive steel and concrete tomb, built to contain what could not be destroyed. Even today, Beneath layers of steel, Reactor 4 still burns in silence. The Chernobyl disaster was not just an accident. It was the result of human error, a flawed design, and a system that silenced the truth. Dozens died in the first weeks. Thousands more suffered from radiation for decades. And the world learned a lesson, that power must be handled with humility. Chernobyl remains a ghost. Pripyat stands empty, and Reactor 4, a monument to the night when the earth shook, the sky glowed, and history changed forever. This was Chernobyl, forever remembered in the TinyVerse.